Hey everybody, my name is Ethan Peters. I'm 23 years old and I am transgender. I am making this video to pretty much tell my story and hopefully help people by telling my story. Um, so I grew up in Connecticut along with my brother and my sister and my two very amazing parents who have worked so hard to give us everything that we wanted. Right from a very young age, maybe 3 or 4, I started to feel like I was different. I began to feel like I was a boy. However, I knew that I was a girl. And I didn't quite understand it. I didn't understand why I was considered a girl, even though I felt like I was a boy. All I remember is wanting to run around Besher off like my brother, play fight with my brother and my dad, you know, watch Power Rangers and play with action figures. I never was into Barbie dolls or any girly stuff at all. I was completely opposite of my sister. I wanted to be just like my brother. In a way, I felt as though my brother was lucky, and I wish that I was him. To this day, actually, I still wish I was. I had my first crush maybe in kindergarten or first grade on a girl. I don't know why I thought it was bad. Maybe something I heard or saw. Maybe it's because of the fact that I know that my parents were, a mother and a father, female and a male, and I was considered a female, so me liking a girl just seemed like a bad thing. However, throughout my childhood, I noticed that girls like boys and boys like girls. Therefore, I would pretend to like a boy so I can feel normal in a way that I hope that down the road all this pretending would make me actually feel that way so that maybe I can be normal. As time went by, I noticed that nothing was changing. I still never liked boys. My feelings grew stronger for girls, and I started to hate myself. In middle school, kind of started going downhill for me. Um, with puberty and all that, I started to notice changes that I did not want to happen because it just made me feel more of a girl. However, 8th grade was the first year I began to think about suicide. I started to make friends, and they were girls, and it made me feel more hatred for myself in a way. It wasn't their fault. It wasn't anybody else's fault at all. It's just how I felt. I hated that, these girls that I was friends with were so comfortable in their bodies, in a way, with their gender, their sexuality. And I hated that I didn't get to feel that way. I just wanted to be normal, like the rest of them. But I didn't feel that way in any way. And I didn't understand why. 9th grade, freshman year, I didn't really have any friends at all. Kind of just was lonely in high school. I had like maybe one friend, which was just somebody I just talked to during school. Other than that, I didn't socialize outside of school with anybody. I just remembered going home every day after school and just playing my music loud so nobody can hear me cry in my room. And I didn't understand still why I was feeling this way. Why couldn't I just be normal? Junior year was the year that everything changed for me. That was the year I felt nothing except for depression. I absolutely hated my life. I hated who I was. I hated that I felt like I couldn't do anything. In junior year, I never, knew that there was even a word for what I was feeling. I never knew that there was people out there like me. I just continued to hate myself, and there was nothing I can do. Every single day, I went home and I cried. After school, if I wasn't working, I was crying after school. And nobody knew it. And it wasn't anybody's fault that they didn't know. I hid it really well. I mean, anybody can tell you that if they knew me from, an early age, I always had a smile on my face. I was just laughing, goofing around in class and so on. Deep down, I hated me. I hated who I was. I hated my gender. I hated my sexuality. I hated it all. I hated every bit of me. Anyways, it was the beginning of May of my junior year, and I was just starting to think a lot more about my future, like most kids do, junior year. However, my thought about my future was much different than most juniors. I was thinking about how I will never be able to fall in love. And if I did, something I can do about it, because I was too afraid to come out. I was thinking about how I would never be able to get married, have kids, be happy. And all I kept wishing was that I was never born. And why did I have to go through this my entire life? Hating who I am. Why did I feel this way? I just didn't get it. At the beginning of May, my junior year, I had one of the worst days of my entire life. I came home from school, went in my room and cried like I normally did. Nobody was home. My brother was out of the house. My sister was at her friend's house. My parents were both at work. And all I kept thinking was I should just end it all. Never have to feel this pain anymore. Never have to hate myself anymore. I'll just be at peace. I went downstairs into the kitchen and I took one of the knives I went into the bathroom, stood in front of the mirror, and just cried. Told myself that I shouldn't be here anymore. And I put the knife up to my wrist. I just kept looking at my wrist. And then, all of a sudden, I just heard a car door shut. And I was afraid. I ran to the window, and it was my dad. He pulled up home a little bit early. I put the knife back, and I ran upstairs, put back on my music, and I just started crying. To this day, I still believe that if my dad never came home at that time, someone would have came home and found me just laying there inside the bathroom floor. I would have been gone junior year. A week went by, and I still kept feeling this pain in my heart of self-hatred. And I decided that I need to be happy. The next time, I won't hesitate. Just happen. And I just cried in my room and told myself that I needed to tell someone the truth. I went up to my sister's door, and just when I was about to knock on the door, I got too afraid and I ran back in my room and cried some more. And I told myself that if I didn't do it now, then I'll never do it. So I went out to my sister's room again. And even though I wanted to hesitate and stop myself, I just knocked anyways. She told me to come in, and I told her that I was gay. I was too afraid to say that I felt like I was a boy. And plus, I still didn't know that there was a word for it. And she kind of just laughed and said, I already knew, and we both just laughed and cried at the same time. The next day I told my best friend, and then after school, I told my mom. Senior year, I decided that I wanted to start looking more like a guy, hoping that it would make me feel a little bit better about myself, even though I couldn't be a boy. I just wanted to at least look like one. So I went home from school one day, and I went up to my mom and I told her that I wanted to cut my hair. And she kind of freaked out a little bit. And then after like a day, she said that, if you're going to do this, at least wait until after the holidays so that we don't have to answer any questions. I think she was just nervous what people were going to ask and so on. So I said, okay. The day after Christmas, my mom, my sister, and I, we went to a salon, which is something I didn't even want to do. I just wanted to go to a barber shop. My mom kind of took control of me getting my first real haircut. And pretty much I walked out of there looking like a black Justin Bieber version, and it was embarrassing. I absolutely hated the hairstyle. My mom was like, "Oh, you look cute." I'm like, no, I don't. I don't know. It was weird, and I did not like it. I mean, I wasn't mad at her, but at the same time, it did make me a little angry that she took control of this one thing that could have made me feel a little bit more comfortable in my own skin. But she didn't know. She didn't know or understand the real reason why I wanted to do it. About a week later, I cut my hair the way I wanted it, and I felt a little bit better, but not entirely. I wasn't happy yet, still. I wanted to be a boy, and the haircut helped with the image a little bit, but it didn't help with the way I felt inside. After senior year, during some time, I remember telling my family that down the road I wanted to have a sex change. I finally found out that there were people like me. I started to look up, what I was feeling, and what came up was transgender. And that's when I found out that I was transgender. I knew that I felt like I was a boy, and I knew that I felt like I was a boy trapped in a female's body. Turns out there was a word for it. Transgender. And there was other people like me. And I wasn't considered gay, which is something I never really felt anyways. I felt like I was a boy trapped in a female's body who liked girls, so I considered myself a straight male. But I knew everybody else would consider me gay, so just kind of went with it. Anyways, at the end of 2014, I talked to a friend of mine that I went to high school with, someone who actually became one of my best friends in the entire world. If it wasn't for him, I don't think that I would have ever started my transition, because I was just too afraid. Plus, I didn't really know how to go about doing it. I made an appointment in February, I believe, of 2015 to go see an endocrinologist. That's a doctor that prescribes you the hormone therapy that you need. Therefore, I was able to start testosterone. However, when I went to go see him, he told me I needed to go see a therapist first or a social worker that can diagnose me with gender dysphoria and also say that I was in the right state of mind so that I can start on hormone therapy and start my transition. I began to see a therapist in the middle of February, and it was definitely awkward. Right during the first day that I saw her, she pretty much already diagnosed me with gender dysphoria. She told me I had, all the clear signs of it from a very young age. So I was really happy, and I just kind of assumed that meant I can go start my hormone therapy. But she said I needed to see her for 6 to 8 weeks. So I was like, okay, great. During that time, I think after the second session, she told me I can go get my name changed because I asked her about that. So I actually went and started that process, as well as told my jobs that I was planning on starting my transition and that I was transgender and so on. And both jobs took it extremely well. They were very supportive. The staff there, were emailing me, telling me that they were are happy for me, and they can't wait to see, the man that I'll become. It was the best feeling to know I had all this support, not only from family, but from friends and from both of my jobs. It means a lot. The day before my birthday, actually, March 26th of 2015, I had my name legally changed, and I started the process of doing my birth certificate, social security card, ID, all of that, and it was amazing. It made me feel like a whole new person. April 15th, I believe the date was, my first day that I started on hormone therapy. It felt amazing. With hormone therapy, my voice began to start changing. Started to grow facial hair, chest hair, an Adam's apple, and so on. When I started on hormone therapy, I started off on a gel. So I would, do 3 pumps of that a day in the morning time. However, after a short amount of time on that, I started to have some issues with the gel. Therefore, I began to start using the needle. So I started, doing that, I think in about June or July, and that actually started working a lot better for me. Now I take that once a week, and I have been on that for, I think, a year and 8 months, I believe. I don't know, I don't really want to do the math right now. But yeah, so I've been on hormone therapy for a while now. My voice has definitely gotten deeper, and it's made me so much happier. In September of this year, last year now, September 15th of 2016, I had top surgery. Something that I wanted for so long, because I just wanted to be able to walk around with my shirt off practically anywhere. And I just wanted to be comfortable in my own body, because, even though I was on hormone therapy, taking testosterone, I was still getting misgendered sometimes, which sucks. Any trans person can say that. It definitely sucks. It definitely lowers your self-esteem when people misgender you. And I get it, sometimes you make a mistake, it just sucks. It really hurts. Especially if people do it purposely. So when I finally had, top surgery, it was like I was free. I became the real me. I was able to walk around with my shirt off. It was amazing to be able to feel so free like that. To feel like they're really you. What cis male and cis female people don't get is that they're so lucky to be able to grow up and be comfortable with their gender. That's something that some people don't get to have. I still to this day wish that I was a cis male. Wish that I was just born a male and I wouldn't have to go through all of this. But I'm happy with, where it all started and where I am now. I came from being such a depressed person to being a happy young man. Something I never thought was possible. I didn't even honestly think that I was going to even make it to this age. I feel lucky every day. And even though I know I'm one of the lucky ones, because there's so many trans people out there that don't have the luxury of having so much support from friends and family and coworkers and so on, and have the luxury of being able to have, you know, surgeries done and foresee more surgeries down the road and being able to start on hormone therapy, I know I'm lucky. And still, some days I get sad and depressed. And I wish I didn't feel that way sometimes. But something I can really do about that. Sometimes the dysphoria just takes control, and all I have to do is push through it and just keep remembering that I'm lucky. And I hope that other trans people will be able to be as lucky as me and be as happy as I can be today. I am so happy with where my life is right now, with all the support I have. Anyways, my name is Ethan Peters. I'm 23 years old, and I'm transgender.